my next video. Well, I'm doing it again. I'm doing another power station, and seems like I'm doing them a lot, but this is another Bluetti, and Bluetti is really kind of on fire right now. They're shaking up the industry and coming out with new stuff that I feel like is so important that I tell you that it's worth it to me to bore you with another Bluetti video. This is a big deal here. Now, what I generally tell you is you can get more for your money if you'll buy and install your own system, and I still believe that completely. So this is my second choice for you, but I know a lot of you simply will not. You will not buy and install your own system. And so if you are going to buy a power station and you want a big power station, this is the one to buy. I believe that wholeheartedly. The last video I did about power stations was the new Bluetti EB70, which is by far my highest recommended middle size power station. If you're going to buy a middle-sized 500 to 700 watt hours, that's the one to buy. Far superior to anything else on the market right now. Now, they've just come out with this one, which is the AC200P, and it's a 2,000 watt hour. So it's a great big unit. It has 2,000 watt hours. It has a 2,000 watt pure sine inverter. So it's the big guy. And it is by far the best unit on the market at the best price available today. So if you're going to buy a medium-sized power station, then the Bluetti EB70 is the one. And if you want to buy a big power station, you have big needs, you have the money to spend, then this is the one that I recommend. So let's get it open and we'll talk about what it is and why it is and everything about it. Okay, this box weighs 80 pounds. Before you order this, make sure you can handle an 80-pound box. The unit is 60 pounds. So it is very big and very heavy. That might eliminate it for a lot of you, but if you can handle the weight, this is the one. So as you know, I make a big deal out of the chemistry because the chemistry tells us how long they'll last. This is, as far as I know, the only LiFePO4 big one out, and I could be wrong. I haven't researched them all and I don't know. But this is LiFePO4. That's the chemistry. That stands for lithium iron phosphate 4, which is the chemical number. And so it's the one I recommend. This has 3,500 cycles. That's the key thing to understand. That's what you get when you get that chemistry, LiFePO4, is you get a huge number of cycles. And in fact, they say 3,500 plus. It could be 5,000. They're just not going to use that number. They're using the number 3,500. And so that's, to my mind, a virtual guarantee. And that's what you get out of LiFePO4. It's that good. So let's compare it to the Jackery 1500. They offer 500 cycles. Now, and it costs as much per watt hour of battery. It costs more than this does. So you're paying more for an inferior chemistry that won't last, what is that, a fifth of the time? That's so important. Oh boy, 80 pounds. This thing came in, I said, good grief. Oh, so it's a monster. It does have really good grab handles, but it's 60 pounds. I mean, you just got to think in terms of, this is a huge unit. I was telling you about the wireless charging. You can see the wireless charging units are right here. You just set your phone on it, and you can be charging your phone or anything else that will charge wirelessly. Just set it on there and it'll start. I really like wireless charging. One reason these are fantastic is because you can park in the shade. You can see it's a hot day today. And I want to be able to park in the shade on a hot day. And this really makes that possible. You can put, this came as a kit. They have a kit. It came with 360 watts of solar. If I set out 360 watts of solar, I can park in the shade and I can move the solar around and be really comfortable. So that's very important. And that's a huge advantage to one of these. Except that normally what you do is you will put the panels and the solar power station out in the sun. You have to hide it. You don't want this to get hot. But hide it behind the panels. But this is so heavy, I'm not sure I can. I'm going to have to rig a longer cable. So at any rate, I'm going to pick this up and put it down a couple times. just so you see that even a 65-year-old guy can lift 60 pounds. You have to decide if you can, and if that eliminates it for you. That's a really big deal. So, and a lot of it is knowing, you know, when you lift with your legs. So I always have done this. I've got and lift and then stand and up. And so that's really all you have to do. But the weight is a really big deal. A really big deal. Okay, so I'm just going to go over some of the things about this that I really like, and maybe some things that I don't. What so far is just the weight. The weight is really kind of a bummer. It's $1,600 here in the month of June 2021. I don't know when you'll be watching this, but if it's past June 2021, that coupon may be gone. It has 2,000 watt hour batteries. That works out to be 166 amp hours. That's a lot of amp hours of lithiums. Your standard Battleborn battery is 100 amp hours, so this is like 1.6 Battleborns, which is really going to be a lot. That's going to be more than most of us will need. That's going to be all that most of us will need with a high quality lithium battery. It has a 2,000 watt pure sine inverter, and it surges at 4,800 watts. That means virtually everything in your home is less than 2,000 watts. Beyond that, it needs special wiring, and so you'll rarely find that. The only thing in your house that's probably more than 2,000 watts is your dryer, if you have an electric dryer. That's going to be 240 volt, and it's going to be a whole new different wiring section. So a 2,000 watt inverter with that kind of surge will probably handle anything you own. The charging is also something else that's really unique with this. You can charge with up to 700 watts of solar panels, and that's really good. So now let's talk about recharge time, because that's one of the most important things. If you draw a lot out for some reason, and the next day you got to put a lot back in, how fast can you recharge it is a really, really big deal. If you have 700 watts of solar, you can recharge it in 3.5 hours. That's really fast. That's exceptional. It's usually, if you have a 100 watt panel, it's going to take all day on the smaller units. And with these big units, you couldn't probably get it charged in a day if you only have a 100 watt panel. Well, you just couldn't. It wouldn't be enough power coming in if you were really low. On 12 volt, it's the standard things. The wiring size really limits plugging into a cigarette lighter. You're just not going to speed that up unless you rewire the entire system so that it can handle more, and they just can't handle anymore. So it's 10 hours. If you plug it in, you need to drive 10 hours and have this thing charging off a cigarette lighter plug for 10 hours. So again, that's very long, and that's about standard. They're all going to be the same. The plug is the limit, not the unit. They can't fix that. And finally on 110 charging. So if you have access to power, they've done something really smart. So this is the standard power brick, and it comes with one. And it's just got, it looks like an 8mm, or I'm not sure what that is, but it just plugs in and it charges just like they all do. With one of these, it will recharge in 4.5 hours. That's very good. However, they did something I've not seen before. You can buy an extra one of these. It only comes with one. You can buy an extra one, plug them both in at once, and it'll charge it in 2.5 hours. So if you have 2.5 hours access to 110 volt power, then it will recharge this whole battery in that 2.5 hours if you buy a second one of these, so they're both charging at the same time. That's the beauty of LiFePO 4. It will take a very, very fast charge. You can pack that power in, which is really why you're spending all that money, and that will let it pack, the two of them working together, put in double the power. It charges in not quite twice so fast, 2.5 hours. It's still awfully, awfully fast. All right, now let's talk about power out. Does power out really good? It has 17 ways to get power out. You can have all 17 on and going and putting power out at the same time. It will handle it. So it has 6 110 volt panels, and as long as they add up to less than 2,000, you can have all 6 plugged in at once. That is unique. There's nothing else like that to best of my knowledge. And then it has standard USB outlets, 2 of them here. Those are just 3 amps, which is still big. Another 3 amps, so there's 4. You have 4 standard USB outlets. You have a 60 watt PD, which is very good. You really want to get a PD, power delivery USB port, and that's a USB-C. And so you'll need, and I'm assuming it came with a USB-C to C cable, we'll see. If not, you might have to buy one. And then there's this weird ports that I don't know of anyone that uses these, but they're becoming standard now on these power stations, and so maybe people will start making things that use them. I'm not aware of anything that does. And this is a 12 volt 25 amp plug, and I have no idea what that is. That's a new one to me. That is completely new to me. And then of course you got one 12 volt cigarette lighter outlet. That seems a little stingy. Wish there was another one. Power, touchscreen. Oh, there should be enough power to turn this on. You have to do something special to turn it on. Oh, there it goes. Not very good in the sun. You're not going to see it very well in the sun. It's a touchscreen. I mean, everything that can be improved on this, I think they've improved on. It's a touchscreen. One thing to think about is all of this stuff is packed into a very small case. So I think heat is going to be an issue. And it's such an issue that it has a built-in fan, because I think it probably will tend to overheat. And I would never put this out. This is in the sun now, but I'm not going to turn it on and use it. I would never put this thing out in the sun while it was being charged, direct sun. Well, maybe in the winter sun, because the winter sun's so weak. But any other time, I'd never put this out in the sun. I'd be really afraid of it getting too hot. This much electronics packed into this small of a case, I think temperature is going to be an issue. It has a temperature gauge in it. You can turn it, when you turn this on, you get a temperature gauge. You know the temperature inside, and if it gets too hot, the fan will come on. And I don't know how loud the fan is yet. I haven't run it. So, well, that's still coming in the next video where I'll actually have used it. But it's all really good. Everything is good. So most of you are going to compare this to the Jackery 1500. And the Jackery 1500 works out to be $1 a watt. That's what they shoot for. If it's $1,500 and it's 1,500 watt hours, then you're paying $1 a watt. This, because it's 2,000 watt hours and its standard price, regular price is 1,700, just 200 more, but you're getting 500 more watt hours. It works out to be about 80 cents a watt hour. So it's actually cheaper per watt hour than the Jackery, and it's got the much better chemistry. It's got 3,500 cycles as opposed to the Jackery's 500 cycles. It has 6 outlets. It has wireless ports at all, and it has 2 wired ports. It has a PD port. Just in every measurable way, it's better, except for the weight. The Jackery is only 30 pounds. Most of us can handle 30 pounds if we really have to. We don't want to do it often for some of us, but you can handle it. Maybe you can't even handle it, can't even think about lifting 60 pounds. So that is still something to really take into account. Let's talk real quick about power cables. The most important thing I'm looking for in cables is an MC4 adapter that will plug into this unit, and it comes with it. So that means you can use any panel, solar panel, any solar panel at all, as long as it comes with standard MC4 cables. You'll buy an extension, plug it into the panel. I would buy a 30-foot extension. I'd wire them all in series, and you can buy a 50-foot extension, MC4 extension, plug it in, and then it just plugs right into this thing. And so you can get the panel's really far away from the unit, and park the unit in the shade, and the panel's out in the sun. This is the plug-in for the actual unit to charge with the brick. This charges off the brick, and this goes into the unit. And so it comes with everything you need. And this is the 12-volt cable that goes into your cigarette lighter plug. This goes into the unit. These are called XT90s, and they're not common, but they're not rare either. You can find them and the cables on Amazon and buy a replacement or a longer one if you want. So it comes with all the cables that you need, and you can use any solar panel. This comes as a kit, and that means that it comes with either 3 of their 120 watt panels or 3 of their 200 watt panels. I'll do a separate video where I open up the Bluetti solar panels. I'll show you them and show up with connecting to the unit. I know I've been doing a lot of these things, and I hope you're not getting too tired of it, but I know it's really, really important. This is a lot of money, and you want to get the very best unit you can for your money. Now, have you used one? Have you bought one of these? And which one did you buy? Did you buy the Bluetti, the newer Bluettis, or the older, or the Max Oak, or the Jackery? I bet a whole bunch of you have the Jackeries out there. There are a bunch of no names now. So which one did you buy? Have you been happy with it? How long has it lasted you? And all those kinds of questions. So if you'll leave a comment below, if you have any questions, leave those below and we'll try to answer them for you. We'll probably include them in a live feed where you can watch and I'll give my answer in a live feed. So if you got anything out of this video, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll talk to you later.
If you are brand new to the road,